Hello everyone, it's Miss Brunt here, and together we are going to be doing a science lesson. In this science lesson, we are going to look at all of the learning that we did last term and we are going to recap it. So we're going to be looking at the things that we learned, that technical vocabulary that we learned, and we're also going to be looking at the new text that we are going to be using in science to help us with our learning. Our learning intention today is I can ask questions and decide how to answer them. We must recap previous learning, should think of questions I would like to ask, and could discuss how we could find answers to the questions we have asked. This term we are linking our science to the text called A Squash and a Squeeze. Let's read the story together. A little old lady lived all by herself with a table and chairs and a jug on the shelf. A wise old man heard her grumble and grouse. There's not enough room in my house. Wise old man, won't you help me, please? My house is a squash and a squeeze. Let's stop there and look at this question. If her house is a squash and a squeeze, what needs to be done to it to make it more suitable? I want you to speak to the person you're doing your home learning with and pause the video here. Super. So, there's two different answers we could give because if the old lady's house is a squash and a squeeze, that means that it's too small. There's not enough room. So, she could either extend her house by making it bigger by building more rooms, or she could get rid of some of her stuff. So let's look at that word suitable. We looked at that word last term together. Suitable is when something is right for something. So suitability is being right for something. Remember, we looked at the story of the three pigs and we looked at the different houses and we all concluded that the house that was built out of bricks was the most suitable because the properties of bricks and the material itself made sure that it was a safe, sturdy, strong and waterproof house, unlike the others. So this is the word properties again, and we looked at this word properties together. Properties is the way that we would describe the materials. It's the parts of the materials that make them what they are. And we've got 6 different materials here on the screen. There's paper, glass, wood, concrete, metal and plastic. And again, I want you to talk to the person you're doing your home learning with and think about what material might be suitable for building the lady a bigger house and which different materials will be used in the different parts of the house. Again, pause the video here to have that chat. Well done. So, again, looking back at the properties of materials, we know that they are the ways that we would describe materials. And here are some properties on the screen to help you to explain what makes the materials you have chosen suitable to make the old lady's house bigger. Are the materials hard, shiny, bendy, soft, dull, not bendy, stretchy, rough, absorbent, stiff, smooth, waterproof, transparent, or opaque? Let's get back to the story. Take in your hen, said the wise old man. Take in my hen? What a curious plan! Well, the hen laid an egg on the fireside rug and flapped round the room, knocking over the jug. The little old lady cried, What shall I do? It was pokey for one, and it's tiny for two. My nose has a tickle, and there's no room to sneeze. My house is a squash and a squeeze. Oh, we've got another question here. What should the woman do to dispose of her tissues hygienically after her sneeze? Again, pause the video here and have that chat with the person you're doing your home learning with. Well done. So, I hope you said at least one of these because we have been looking at this lots and lots in class together. You need to catch it, bin it, kill it. You need to catch the sneeze in a tissue. You need to bin it. And if you were at school, you would bin it in that silver bin. and then you would wash your hands or put hand sanitizer on your hands to kill it. And we know that these are the ways that we stay hygienic and clean and are ways that we stop things spreading to other people. And that's what the old lady should do as well, shouldn't she? Again, there's that word hygiene. We looked at hygiene before last term. Hygiene means staying clean. So to be hygienic is by being clean. Let's get back to the story. And she said, "Wise old man, won't you help me, please? My house is a squash and a squeeze." Have you noticed all the rhyming words in this story? "Take in your goat," said the wise old man. "Take in my goat? What a curious plan." Well, the goat chewed the curtains and trod on an egg, then sat down to nibble on the table leg. The little old lady cried, "Oh, glory be! It was tiny for two and it's titchy for three. The hen pecks the goat and the goat's got fleas. My house is a squash and a squeeze." And she said, "Wise old man, won't you help me, please? My house is a squash and a squeeze." "Take in your pig," said the wise old man. "Take in my pig? What a curious plan." So she took in the pig who kept chasing the hen. We have another question. What will be happening to the pig's body when it exercises? Again, pause the video here and talk to the person you're doing your home learning with. Well done. So, we know that the pig's heart rate would increase, the heart would beat faster, their breathing would become rapid and heavier. So they'd be breathing a lot quicker than usual and taking in a lot more oxygen. They would get hotter, their temperature would increase. And definitely for humans, they would be sweating and start to feel tired. And raiding the larder again and again. The little old lady cried, "Stop, I implore! It was pitchy for three, and it's teeny for four. Even the pig in the larder agrees. My house is a squash and a squeeze." And she said, "Wise old man, won't you help me, please? My house is a squash and a squeeze." You can see in this picture the pig eats lots of sugar. Is this healthy eating? What could he eat instead that is more healthy? That's right. We know that eating lots and lots of sugar isn't healthy. We're allowed a little bit of sugar in our diet, but not too much. So perhaps he could eat some fruit and vegetables instead. That would be a healthier choice, wouldn't it? Remember, we looked at a balanced diet before, so that's eating the right amount of different food groups. So not having too much of something and not having enough of something. So we know we shouldn't have too much sugar. We can have a little bit, and we can have plenty fruit and vegetables. So looking at our balanced diet plate here with all the different food groups, I want you to pause the video here and talk to the person you're doing your home learning with and see if you can make the pig a more balanced snack. Well done. Let's carry on reading the story. "Taking your cow," said the wise old man. "Taking my cow? What a curious plan." Well, the cow took one look and charged straight at the pig, then jumped on the table and tapped out a jig. How is a jig good for the cow? What other forms of exercise do you know? And what properties does the table have if a cow can dance on it? Talk about these questions with the person you're doing your home learning with and pause the video here. Well done. So let's look at the properties of wood together. We know wood is hard. Sometimes it can be soft. We know that wood is not stretchy. We know that it is stiff. It is rigid. So we know that it being hard and it being stiff means that the cow could jig on the table. It can sometimes be shiny and it can sometimes be dull. Sometimes wood is rough and sometimes it is smooth. We know that wood is usually not bendy, although you can, if you put enough force on it, bend a stick. And we also know that wood can be absorbent, although sometimes it's also waterproof. And we know that wood is not transparent, we cannot see through it, it is opaque, it cannot be seen through. Let's get back to the story. The little old lady cried, "Heavens alive! It was Teeny for 4, and it's Weeny for 5. I'm tearing my hair out, I'm down on my knees. My house is a squash and a squeeze." And she said, "Wise old man, won't you help me, please? My house is a squash and a squeeze." "Take them all out," said the wise old man, "but then I'll be back where I first began." So she opened the window and out flew the hen. "That's better, at last I can sneeze again." She shooed out the goat and shoved out the pig. "My house is beginning to feel pretty big." She huffed and she puffed and she pushed out the cow. "Just look at my house, it's enormous now." "Thank you, old man, for the work you have done. It was weeny for 5, but it's gigantic for 1. There's no need to grumble and there's no need to grouse. There's plenty of room in my house." And now she's full of frolics and fiddle-dee-dees. It isn't a squash and it isn't a squeeze. Yes, she's full of frolics and fiddle-dee-dees. It isn't a squash or a squeeze. I want you to think about the words squash and squeeze and what they mean, and think of an action for each of them. Well done. So to squash something is when you apply pressure, when you push down on something and you can crush it or you can squeeze it together. So let's look at our unit objectives, and I want you to think about what do you think you know already and what would you like to ask to find out more. So our objectives are to perform a simple comparative test to answer a question, to use observations to answer a question, so to use what we can see from our experiments, to record data to help answer a question, so that's making sure we remember or write down what happened in our experiments, to explain whether a push or pull has been used to change the shape of an object, and to name the property of materials which can be squashed, bent, twisted and stretched. So, your task today is on Purple Mash, and we are going to make a dictionary that explains what words we have learnt in science so far this year and what it means. On the left hand of the page is a definition of what the word means, and on the right hand of the page is a list of words. Can you copy the correct word from the right hand page above the definition on the left hand? Well done for today, guys. I'm so excited to see your work.